I regarded them not, because right now the Most High ain't really regard. I mean, he's got his elect, right? But with reference to all it is, or the Most High really ain't dealing with, right? He says, "For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their minds and write them into their hearts." Right? And that goes to show you the Most High is still dealing with the law. If the old covenant was dealing with the old covenant was dealing with the law when the Most High gave us the laws written down, and the new covenant is the law, statutes, commandments written in our minds, therefore being programmed to do the laws as if you were a robot, because that's all you are really. We was programmed to go off. Like Paul said, right? The creature was made subject unto vanity. Now basically our spirit is going to be put into a new creature, right? A celestial body, right? One wherewith the law, statutes, commandments are programmed within our minds. Because when you're in a spiritual world, man, you ain't eating, so you can't put the dietary laws there. You ain't having sex, so you can't put the sex laws there, right? But when you're in the flesh, when that creature is present, and when that spirit is put in there, and the law, statutes, commandments are imprinted there, then you're going to be all good in the kingdom. So you're going to be programmed to do righteously. Therefore, you're going to be programmed to get the blessings of this world. Right? It says, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. Right? Now I'm going to jump to Jeremiah 31 and 33. Right, it says, "But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days." Right? Showing you that the direct quote from the Old Testament is in the New Testament. It's a direct quote. Right? That goes to show you basically that the Most High, man, there ain't no confusion between the Apocrypha, the Old Testament, and the New Testament, because the Lord said He comes in the volume of the book. So really, to understand this truth, you have to look through the whole scriptures. Right, which is the Apocrypha, the Old Testament, the prophets, right, and the Lord's statutes and commandments. And really the prophets only took what was in the Lord's statutes and commandments, right? Because let me don't say that as if I was going off, right? Some of the prophecies that haven't come to pass are subject to the Lord's statutes and commandments. For instance, before we went down, we was in rulership in the 1600s. No Negroes, Hispanic. Well, we knew we was Negroes, Hispanics. We knew we was the Israelites when we was in the 1600s, when we was in rulership. Right. That's why England it comes from the Hebrew word Aman. Right. So they knew they were the Hebrews, and Saxon comes from the word basically pertaining to being Isaac's sons. Right. Hence Israelites. Right. But after the 1600s. That name was crossed out of us. That was being out of us in that land that was Egypt, which we're going to see in a minute in the scriptures, right? And basically the point I was saying is some of the prophecies are in the law, statutes, commandments. So if you don't know the law, statutes, and commandments, really you don't know the prophecies that have to come to pass before we get the rulership of this kingdom. That goes to show you all these people that be out here pushing this, so-called pushing this word, right? So-called prophets and so-called preachers and pastors don't know the truth, because if you knew the truth, you'd be all up into the laws, statutes, and commandments, because some of those laws, statutes, most of the laws, statutes, and commandments are prophetic anyway, right? Because Moses basically wrote it down where he basically said we was gonna go off, right? That's how it got down from the Most High, that we was always gonna go off. We was always set to go off. But when you see these prophecies now, we ain't ever going to go off, because we're going to have the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High written in our inward parts. Right? And it says, "After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my laws into their inward parts and write them in their hearts, and I'll be their God," right? Their power, "and they shall be to me, and they shall be my people." Right? This is Judges 5 and 11. like. This is Judges 5:11. It says, "They that are delivered from the noise of the archers in the places of the joy and water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of his village in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates." Right? Because we're supposed to be basically rehearsing the righteous acts at the minute. Right? You Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, right? That goes to show you that the laws, the Most High never done away with it. Why is he going to say something and he's going to turn back on it? Right? Which he could do. He's the Most High. Right? The Most High can do whatever he wants. Right? This is Revelations 11:8. Right, it says, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the street, in the street of the great city, which is spiritually Sodom and Egypt," right? Where also the Lord was crucified, right? Because the Lord's name was crucified from among us, right? It says Proverbs 21:3. It's Proverbs 3. 21:16. "The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead." Right? That basically shows you that it wasn't talking about being physically dead, it was talking about spiritually dead. Right? Because we was taken out of that way of wisdom. Right? And it says, "They of," this is back in Revelations 11:9, it says, "They of the people and the kindred and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves." Right? "And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and send gifts to one another, because the two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth." Right? And it says, "And after 3 days and a half shall the spirit of life from the Most High enter into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them." Right? So the spirit of the Lord came upon us, as you can see now through all the four corners of the earth. The people of Israel are standing up, man. Right? The Most High is putting back that spirit within us, where we're coming out, we're pushing this truth, right? And the people that see us are in great fear. We're gonna see it in the scriptures, right? This is Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. Right, it says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they have looked for." Right? That's why we're coming out here through the grace and mercy of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, pushing this truth to the best of our ability. Right? And man, fear is upon these people, man. They know something's about to go down. They see it in the news. They see it in our spirit. They see it in the spirit and the vibration of the Most High is basically set up on this place, man. But still you want to do wickedly, you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You still want to be wicked, right? You still all want to be in this man's system and love this man's system, right? So you're going to die with this man's system, right? Like the scripture says, they that are joined with them shall be destroyed, man. Right? And we're going to laugh in that day, like it says in Proverbs 1:21 or 1:26, right? We shall laugh at your calamity, man. We shall mock you when your terror cometh like a storm. Right? This is Isaiah 58:1, right? This is Isaiah 58:1. It says, "Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sin. Right? Because once that spirit goes back upon you, that's what you want to do, man. You want to come out here and cuss Jake out, man. Right? Because you understand the level of abomination that this man is basically put into our system, put into Israel. Right? All the wickedness that be happening, most of the wickedness is Israel that's doing it. Right? But this man puts that vibration out there. Right? And like the scripture says, man, the wicked are the wicked, but Jacob will be twice as wicked as the wicked are. And they should know better. You Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you should know better. Why? Because you got the Lord's scriptures and understand it, and you got the conscience put forth by the Most High on you. Right? So you Negroes know you're doing wickedly, but you choose not to understand. That's why, like I said, man, you scoffers, you wicked Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we're going to laugh in that day, man. We're going to mock you when that terror comes. Right? We're going to be laughing when we see that in that them glass windows and them chariots, man. We're going to be laughing, man. Right? I mean, I don't know if it's glass. I mean, I don't want to go off, man. But we're going to see it. We're going to see your calamity. That's the point I'm making. All right? This is Ezekiel 9:4. Right? It says, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Right? That's the vibration you're supposed to be sending out here. You're supposed to be coming out here, right? Through in sincerity. Right? We do this thing because we love this thing. Right? You come out here in sincerity, right? Cold, wet, windy, hot, or whatever, right? You push the truth, and everyone that be sighing and crying, man, when they walk past, man, hey, if he's sighing and crying, you tell him you teach him this truth, right? That could be an elect man of the Lord, right? If we don't teach him, really, if we then don't teach him, and we teach him to do wickedly, then his blood's gonna be upon our hands, right? That's when we come out here, you know, hey, when these Negroes, the hard-headed Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans don't want to get it, hey, right? Dust off our hands. That's it. That's cool. Right? It's not a problem to us. Right? It says, and to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare. Right? Neither have pity. Slay utterly, old and young, both maids and little children, and women. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark. And what's that mark? That mark is the Spirit of the Lord, which is the truth, as we're going to see. Right? And it says, and begin at my sanctuary. Right? Now, this is Luke 14:23. Right, this is Luke 14:23, and it said, and the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, yet there is room. And the Lord said unto the servants, go into the highways and the hedges, and compel them to come in, so that my house may be full. Now that wasn't a physical sense, but on a spiritual sense, we're supposed to be out here on the highways and the hedges, compelling people to fill that spiritual house, right? Which is the house of Israel, the house of David. Right? This is Jeremiah 28:8. Right? It says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesy both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war, of evil and of pestilence. That's what we come out here week in, week out, right? For the Spirit Yahweh Bashim Yahweh, prophesying the downfall of this kingdom, prophesying of evils, prophesying of pestilences, man. Because when you ain't got no money, no food, no water, that's a pestilence, right? Those are the days of the evil that the Most High spoke of, right? And if anyone calls himself a prophet and they prophesying like that, man, that's not a prophet. Right? If T.D. Jakes is standing in front of you and he's talking about prosperity in America, that's not a prophet of the Most High, man. That's a prophet of Baal, man. Right? And it says, the prophets which prophesy you of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord hath truly sent. Right? That basically goes to show you, man, Most High is dealing with death, destruction, man. The Most High is dealing with pestilences and evils. Why? Because wickedness is running rampant in this planet. Right? Because that natural order that the Most High would have set up if Israel was in order, right? What do I mean by order? Following the Lord's statutes and commandments, that natural order of a dominant species of people enforcing his Lord's statutes and commandments is not there. Right? So the Most High is going to destroy it and set Israel off a right where the Lord's statutes and commandments is programmed in their mind. Right? And this is Job 6 and this is John 6 and 63. Right, this is John 6 and 63. It says, right, it is the spirit that quickeneth, the prophet, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words which I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. Right, the words of these scriptures are the spirit and they are the life. That's what grants life, and that's life in the heavens. Right. I don't mean the sky. I'm talking about when the Most High destroys this place and sets that heavenly kingdom up. That's not going to be destroyed, neither. That's not going to be destroyed, and it's not going to be given into any other people. Right. And with that said, we can go close up. Right. Say the water. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Right. Basically death to this place, man. Let all hell break loose. Right. Double honors to the elders. And honest to you brothers that be pushing this word out in sincerity, right? And peace unto you brothers. I mean, hey, it's only a little while longer we gotta hold out, right? Hey, Lord willing, that spirit's gonna be upon me. I can hold out and enjoy. And Lord willing, the spirit's gonna be on the brothers out there to hold out and enjoy. And it's gonna be it's only a short while now. With that said, say shalom. Sign out. Peace.